All right, y'all, what's going on? Welcome to the Monday Night Raw / Monday Night Call-In. Put a 1 in the chat if everybody can hear me clearly. And I think I gotta do... All right, let's pop this open right quick. Let me adjust. I got all this. I got max headroom right now. Right, that's what they call it, right? They call it max headroom. All right. All right, so I don't sound too low. I sound just right. Because sometimes, I come out on the stream and I rewatch it and I sound low. All right. Here we go. I'm in my spot. I'm not in the kitchen today. I finished eating early today. I got a couple things I wanted to touch on tonight. And it will be a call-in. But I think what I got to do... Let me see about this. Because last time I tried to post a link in, and I don't think I was able to pin it. So I'm gonna see if I can pin it this time. I'm gonna post it in the stream when I actually open up the call in. But for those of you who are tribe members, you can join me on the Discord in the voice chat. All right. So for those of you who are the tribe members tuning in, you can tune in on the Discord and get in the voice chat. You know what I'm saying? Like we did, like my man John Green, like we did this Saturday. All right. Let me drop the banner down. Where's everybody tuning in from? City, state, country, all of that? What we got going on? How's everybody feeling tonight? Sound off, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're feeling good, put a W in the chat if you're feeling all right. I'm going to get some shout outs here too. We got Agnes, one of the day ones. What's going on? We got Mama Do is in here. Agnes in here. During the live stream, Remsen will be speaking straight up facts for show. Appreciate that. I'm giving my best. I do my best. That's all I can do. What's going on? We got my favorite cakes and cupcakes lady. How you doing? That's right. The most bangingest cakes and cupcakes. I don't really eat too many of those. But you know what? She be doing the thing. We got a lot of ones in the chat. We got the W's rolling in. Everybody's feeling good. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So the weather's starting to really pick up, right? We starting to get into, high 60s, low 70s, mid 70s. We're starting to get there. Over in Austin, Texas, y'all already having some brilliant weather. All right, so big shout out to y'all. Florida, Texas, all that. Y'all getting some real good weather. So big shout out to y'all. You said my hair looks nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been holding up together. I didn't have to do no retouching tonight because I don't want to be messing around with my hair too much. I don't want to do all of that. I've been doing a lot of thinking, right? And one of the main things that I've been putting a lot of thought into lately is not motivation, but dedication, right? You can be motivated to do things. Motivation is it can be a very short-lived thing. Motivation is very different. Like you can be motivated to doing a thing, and then once you've done it, the motivation goes away because you've already done it. You're not going to stay motivated to do the thing you've already did. It's past, right? Dedication is a bit of a different thing. Dedication implies a different thing. Dedication implies a long-standing commitment in the pursuit of something that is much broader, right? Motivation is more of like a feeling, right? You feel motivated, right? And hopefully that feeling of motivation transitions into your behavior. Dedication, it's pointed in a particular direction. Dedication is not a feeling. Dedication is a lifestyle. It's a thing. It's a set of behavioral patterns that are long sustained, right? The reason why I'm talking about this is because I've been asked a few times this week about raw vegan bodybuilding, or in general in bodybuilding, right? It's hard for people to find like bodybuilding coaches, raw vegan bodybuilding coaches, and that kind of thing. Bodybuilding is a very interesting thing. Bodybuilding is actually fairly extreme, but it's extreme in ways. It's extreme, but there's levels to the extremeness of it. But even if you just do it casually, it still requires a lot of you. Because with bodybuilding, there's not like a clear set achievement, right? Bodybuilding is not like I'm striving to pursue and reach a set body fat percentage. That's not what it is. It's not like I want to grow muscle in order for the muscle to reach a certain circumference measurement. That's not what it is, right? Bodybuilding, there's not like a finish line. It's not what it is. There's not like you strike a pose and then the pose scores you points. It's not what it is. Bodybuilding is a highly subjective thing where you completely surrender yourself and your offering to the judges. And they basically give an up or down vote, right? And you're up on stage, barely no clothes on, right? You're basically covering your genitals and your milk duds, and that's about it, right? So you just hanging out there on a stage, all kind of lights on you in front of an audience, and you flexing and posing and doing all of this. There's no scorecards, there's no none of that. Basically, you just have to be as good as you possibly can be, right? It's very difficult to get as good as you could possibly be because you don't really know how good that is. You don't really know. It's like porn. You know it when you see it, right? But the thing is that it requires so much of you to get there because you're never really quite sure that you've gotten there. So you keep pushing it a little bit more. So like there's always the possibility that at the end of the day, you could show up with something better. You could perform better. You can do better. You can grow more. You can lean out more. You can hit that pose better. You can get that angle better. You can hold it better. There's all these things that you can always do better. You never do it perfect. Even when it looks perfect to regular people, it doesn't look perfect to you and it doesn't look perfect to the judges. Right? This takes a big psychological toll, or it would take a big psychological toll on most people because of the vulnerability that requires and how hard you have to push yourself. And it requires so much dedication. It requires you to have a single focus. Okay? It's not like getting in shape. It's not like getting in shape to be an athlete. You know, you can shoot a jump shot or you can do a layup on both sides or, you know, it's not like that. It's not a thing about athletic performance. That's not what it's about. It's a different thing. It's not even really necessarily developing a set of skills. That's not what bodybuilding is either. It's about transforming your body in such a dramatic way and really getting as close as humanly possible to your full genetic potential. The reason why that requires this long, sustained dedication is because if you take an approach to bodybuilding with a short-term frame of mind, you're not going to make it. You're going to burn out real quick. While at the same time, it requires a tremendous amount of effort that is meant to be put forward on a very consistent basis that human beings aren't really supposed to do. Bodybuilding training is a bit odd because the type of training that it requires is not really how people are supposed to train. Because your singular focus in bodybuilding is to grow muscles as big as possible and get as lean as possible. Right? But you don't want to get too lean to the point where it flattens the muscle out. So there's this big balancing thing, right? So you're sculpting, but it is a sculpture that requires so much crazy work ethic. It's intense. And your eating habits will even be like highly unusual, right? I kind of have, when I write diet plans, or the way that I would prefer to write diet plans is by the numbers. Counting your calories, carbs, fats, protein, and gradually dialing things in as your body changes, right? And I will admit that I am more so in a habit of writing a hybrid between like a sports performance or bodybuilding diet plan, but for normies. And it's an interesting line to balance. Something like bodybuilding requires a tremendous amount of energy, and your sleep quality has to be really good. If you don't get good sleep, you're not going to make it. Like, poor sleep will destroy your gains. It will stagnate your gains. Unbelievably so. And consuming more protein or eating more food and taking more supplements is not enough to overcome it. It's a very sensitive, touchy thing. So people have asked me about bodybuilding. People have asked me about creating a body transformation. It is not for the faint of heart. There's two ways to pursue this. You can take a real long-term approach that's real safe and it's kind of conservative. And that will allow you to create a body transformation without all kinds of injuries and hormonal imbalances. But the harder you push the body transformation, you shorten your window, but you raise the stakes so much. You open yourself up to all type of hormonal imbalances and disruptions and injuries. Mainly overuse injuries. Right? And those overuse injuries really start to accumulate. Elbows, wrists, shoulders, knees, hips. Things just get worn out, lower back. And then what happens is you feel it in your joints, but then you feel it in your nervous system. You typically feel it in your nervous system first, then your joints. You start to feel it hormonally. And so this is what makes it hard. It gets in your head. And you have to be real anal about your sleep. No drinking alcohol. Early rising. You got to be real disciplined and strict with everything. And it requires what people call obsession. And there's a very thin line between obsession and dedication. Now, however, the thing that fascinates me about bodybuilding is depending on how you do it, it can actually be really healthy. It can be a really healthy endeavor. But the healthier the approach to it, the longer the transformation is going to take. Right? Miss D, what's going on? Good to see you in here. I am motivated to be dedicated to. Determination is the key for me. Getting it in now. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Most people too, it's interesting, right? Because like resistance training is not particularly normal to people. Even like with resistance training and really putting in effort, putting in physical effort is a skill. It's a skill that kind of becomes a personality trait. Right? Do you have healthy recipes for refreshments like teas and juices? Yes. Yes, I do. I talk about them too sometimes on the channel. But in any case, so for example, and I've done the bodybuilding thing. I've done it. I've had a lot of success with it. I never really wanted to like get on stage in a mankini and flex and pose and all of that. I never really had an interest in doing that. People kept telling me like, "Oh, do you compete? Oh, you should compete." And I never really got into it. But I know what it is to create a body transformation because I've done it several times in my life to very significant degrees. So, for example, at one point in time, I was 193 pounds. And then at another time, I was 145 pounds. When I was 193 pounds, I was like 14% body fat. When I was 145 pounds, I was 6% body fat. And I shot back up to 160 pounds and 165 pounds, 8% body fat. Yeah, I had pretty big swings. Before resistance training, before weightlifting, I was like 135 pounds. Right? I'm 5'9". Right? I was like 135, 130 pounds or so, something like that. I was lean, six-pack abs, but skinny. I could never get back to 130 pounds or 135 pounds in my life now. And the reason why is because if I was to drop back down to 145 pounds, I'd look ridiculously shredded. I would look insanely striated. And the reason why is because my lean mass is like 136 pounds or something like this. Right? So I would have to lose a lot of muscle mass in order to get my weight low enough. But there was a point in time too where my lean mass at one point was like 150 pounds. So I actually lost a lot of muscle mass, and I had to because of all the joint pain. I couldn't train to sustain it. It was killing me. I may have even had more muscle mass on me than 150 pounds. It may have been a bit more than that. Probably like 155 or something like this, maybe. I was heavy. I was ripping my clothes and whatnot. It was crazy. But a big part of what allowed me to consistently train was the fact that all my joints felt better when I got warmed up and trained. If I took too much time off from the gym, I would get stiff and my joints would hurt. So I had some pretty interesting things that would motivate me to go and train. My joints all felt better when I went and trained. When I got into the best shape of my life, though, which was like 6% body fat, I went whole food, plant-based, real high carb. My dietary fats were real low. They were in between 12 and 15%. I was religiously eating like in between 90 and 100 grams of protein a day. Probably like more like along the lines of 90, right? And I ate the same things every day. I walked the same amount of miles every day, and I walked a lot of miles every day. I was walking in between like 6 and 10 miles a day. I was doing a lot of walking, right? That was my cardio. And I was training 4 times a week, primarily doing an upper-lower split. Upper body twice a week, lower body twice a week. And I was training, basically taking each set to failure, 4 sets per exercise, working between a rep range of 10 to 20 reps. Right? I remember that training plan. It was one of the best types of training plans I've done. But the workouts are kind of long, though. My workouts are like half that now. So, and I was doing my training outside. So at the time, I had a squat rack, I had a barbell, bumper plates, kettlebells, and all of that. And I would train in the yard. So whenever the weather was good enough for me to train outside, I'd bring everything outside and train outside. I got real dark. I got a really good tan. And, I would tell people that the primary difference maker for me during that time was the amount of sun exposure I was getting during my training. I was getting a lot of sun exposure. And I was training outside. I tried to do it all year round to the point I was training outside in the cold. I'm going to get into some more of the technical reasons why that works so well. But basically just getting into the frame of mind. My days, every day was very similar. All the days are pretty much the same. Eat the same things, walk the same amount of miles, have the same schedule, go to bed religiously at the same time. Very regimented, militantly so. No alcohol, no junk food, no none of this. Right? And I sustained it for like 2 years straight. Right? And I went from 193 pounds and I dropped down to 145. I got kind of nervous. I was like, man, 145, this is kind of light. I feel like I'm getting emaciated. But I was able to maintain my strength. I lost a lot of weight, but I was still able to maintain my strength, and my joints felt way better. The biggest motivators for me was the fact that I no longer had seasonal allergies and my joint pain went away. Right? Those were like the two primary things. It really motivated me. I love the way that I felt. Hormonal balance was on point. Gut health, everything was on point. No gas, bloating, constipation, all of that went away. Of course, dropped a ton of body fat, but no joint pain and no debilitating allergies. And the headaches went away. I used to have really bad chronic headaches and sinus pressure. Right, to the point my teeth hurt. It hurt so bad, it made my gums bleed. It hurt bad. I was in a lot of pain. I dealt with a lot of pain. And I had a bone spur in my right shoulder and in my right side of my neck. I no longer have it. It used to limit my ability to turn my head. But I had to really be very regimented, and I had to sustain that regimented effort for a very long period of time. And I had to be just like chronically and clinically dialed in. I mean, just locked in from sunup to sundown. I didn't really have much of a social life. Everything was geared around my goals, mainly the training goals and the body transformation. Sheila, what's going on? Good to see you in here. You say you late again? It's all right. You here? You got it. That's right. But in any case, so that's essentially what I did, right? My foods were, I was actually doing frozen vegetables at the time. I don't really do frozen vegetables anymore. All of my produce pretty much are fresh now. But I used to do frozen vegetables big time. It was primarily frozen kale, basmati rice, chia seeds, rolled oats, crunchy peanut butter, grapefruit, kiwis, grapes, strawberries, bananas, sweet potato, red kidney beans, chickpeas. And then it was silk soy milk and pea protein isolate. And that was essentially like my foods list. And I would do tofu, right? Like extra firm tofu. That was my foods list, right? When I would do the frozen greens, it would just be a big old bowl of greens with chia seeds in them. I was like, I just wanted to get the greens in. I didn't care about really how it tasted. I might get the greens and just put some coconut aminos in it and nutritional yeast. That's what I would do. Nutritional yeast, coconut aminos, and then mix in the chia seeds with the greens and just eat it just like that. And then I would do the basmati rice and the red kidney beans with like tomato sauce and some seasoning or whatever. And I would just do that religiously, right? I would do a pound of sweet potato a day with like 16 ounces of sweet potato, right? I would go to the grocery store and I was weighing all the sweet potatoes because I wanted the sweet potato. The sweet potato either had to be 8 ounces or 16 ounces. So it couldn't be a sweet potato that was like 12 ounces. It had to be either 16 or 8. If it was 8, I would get 2 of them. If it was 16, it was a big old sweet potato, I'd just get 1. And I would stock up on the sweet potatoes in those measurements, right? I was like real ADD, like real OCD about it. But that's what I did. That's how I picked my sweet potatoes. Frozen kale and frozen spinach. I would alternate between the two. Frozen kale, frozen spinach. I used to cook oats back in the day. I don't do it anymore. Now I do overnight oats. So they're overnight raw oats. But I used to cook them back in the day, and I would put crunchy peanut butter in them. 2 tablespoons. And I would level out the tablespoons. I was real strict about the tablespoons. Yeah, right. And I would do coconut sugar, or like raw sugar. I would alternate between those two, whatever I can get. And sea salt or pink Himalayan salt. And cinnamon. So every day was the cinnamon, sea salt, and either cane sugar or coconut sugar in the oats. Every day. Right. So that's pretty much just showing y'all what my diet was like. And every day I would eat religiously in between like I would eat, what was it? It was like 1900 calories. Something around there. It was like, it might have been like between 1900 and like 1980 or something like this. Or 1900 and 1920, something like that. But it was like 1900 something. It's real strict 1900. I wouldn't go over that. I wouldn't even eat 2000 calories. It's like 1900 something. And I would eat between the hours of 12 and 8. I was real strict because I would eat between the hours of 12 and 8. I had to stop eating. I made sure I ate and I stopped eating right at 8 o'clock. So I was done. I would never eat past 8 o'clock. So whatever my final meal was, I had to finish it before 8 o'clock. Right? And I had to finish eating by 8 o'clock and I'd be in bed by like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I would try my best to be in bed by 8:30 so I can fall asleep by 9 o'clock. And like, I remember in the summertime, I would go to bed and it would still be kind of daylight out because the sun would go down a little later. So I'd be lying in bed and the sun wasn't even down yet. Right. That's how on point I was with the schedule. And that's when I was like really like, and that's when I got like super shredded. I rounded out my shoulders and all of this type of stuff, right? This was in, what year was this? This was like 2016 or something like that, maybe 2015, 2016, somewhere around those years. Right, if y'all want to scroll through my Instagram, you can go through there. You'll see it long enough. Even on my YouTube channel, too, I have videos. Matter of fact, if y'all go through my YouTube channel, if you go back far enough, I did a vlog video of when I got like my barbell set. So y'all could see the yard and whatnot where I was training. And my whole barbell setup and my kettlebells and everything like that, because I actually recorded those videos. And so I have a few of them up on my YouTube channel and Instagram. So y'all can see what I used to look like. I'm basically saying all of that just to give y'all insights into what it takes. Right? The hardest parts is the beginning and the end stages of the training. Because getting started is harder because you got to adjust and there's always muscle soreness and fatigue and everything. It's really exhausting. And it'll make you want to quit. But if you stick on it, you get to like that middle portion, you can sail through. It's normalized. It's fairly easy. But it don't last. Because then you get a little, that fatigue really starts to accumulate. You really need to start taking more rest days and things like this. And you really got to listen to your body, right? A man, one of the primary signs as a man that you need some time to like chill out is when you stop waking up with morning wood, right? Like if you soft throughout the night and you waking up soft, yeah, you need to take some recovery. And the thing is that when you're strict about your eating, you don't eat over a certain amount. You're pretty disciplined about it. You don't have as much resources for your body to use for energy. So it does get kind of fatiguing and you'll soften up a little bit. You feel it in the morning. You'll be a little tired. It starts getting a little hard to get up in the morning. So you're a little groggy in the mornings. You start having to lean on that pre-workout a little bit more than you typically normally do. Right, you start dry scooping, that pre-workout becomes ultra necessary, right? You start going everywhere with that pre-workout. That pre-workout is your lifeline. And then when you're real fatigued, they get to the point where it's like, if you got to do some reading, you'll just take a pre-workout so you can sit down and read. It'd be that bad. Like you'd be so fatigued. You're like, look, I can't concentrate. Let me just get some caffeine down. So anyways, I would start eating at 12 noon. I would stop eating at 8, right? So fasting was like a big part, like that intermittent fasting, right? And I had this 64-ounce glass water bottle. And I would fill it with green tea and like 2 drops of peppermint, like peppermint oil. So basically I would put peppermint drops in my water. Right? It's really good for like your gut health. So if you deal with like gas, bloating, and weird digestive issues, peppermint is really good for relaxing your gut. So you can put that in your water. So I would put that in my water, and that would kind of ease up my digestion, right? That would improve my digestion. And then the green tea, I would load up on the green tea in the morning religiously. So every morning I would drink a lot of green tea. So I had like green tea bags in the bottle, right? And I had this electric kettle, and I would boil the water in the electric kettle and then wait for it to cool off a little bit and then pour it into the bottle. The bottle was what is that called? The glass that's like shatter resistant. What's it called? Tempered glass. It's like this thick tempered glass with a rubber sleeve. Right? So I would let the water cool off a little bit, and I would pour it into the bottle and let the tea bags steep, the green tea bags. And I put like 2 or 3 tea bags in there. It was like a 64-ounce bottle. It was like this big bottle with a wooden cap. And I would drink that religiously every morning, right? That green tea. It's that simple. That works. It's very effective. It really works. That has been like one of the best strategies that I've ever developed, like till this day. But you got to be strict about your fat intake, though. Because you kind of like, you can get carried away with the fats. And the reason why is because they're not as filling. So you end up eating too much fat, and then you get full later. So the satiation, that sense of fullness, it hits you too late. Right? So like you can do like two tablespoons of like peanut butter or something like that, crunchy peanut butter. Two tablespoons of that, it's like 120 calories, something like this. No. It's either 120 or 240. I haven't gotten nut butter in so long. I don't really eat nut butter anymore. I'll just eat peanuts themselves. But you put 1 extra tablespoon and you put like an extra 100 calories easily. And I actually stopped cooking with oil because you could add a lot of calories to your food just adding oil. And it's not just calories, right? It's the fat. Because if you add more carbs, it's not going to be that problematic. It's not really that much of a negative side effect. But you add more oil and nut butter and all of that type of stuff, it goes straight to your gut. Right? It'll soften up you get a little pudding gathering around your belly button. And then the nut butters, they put oil, there's oil in because I would get like the organic nut butter. So it would be like the oil on top. You got to mix it in. Right? So it'd be like this oily nut butter. I would do that. And then sometimes I would do the Skippy natural because it's already kind of mixed in. That's what I would do. Skippy peanut butter. I haven't eaten peanut butter in so long. Oh my God. It's been I can't remember the last time I bought a jar of nut butter. It's been so long. Oh my God. Or even like cooking with oil. It's been so long since I've cooked anything with oil. I don't understand. It's been like years. Because I used to make tofu nuggets sometimes. And I would use like cornstarch in different seasonings to make a batter for tofu nuggets. I haven't done that in years. Because I don't fry anything, right? But the reason why I'm telling y'all all this too is to give you more of an understanding, because you're going to remember what I said. You're going to think about it a little bit. You do have to be really regimented, and you have to get used to repetition. If you one of these people where you need like a whole plethora of all kind of different stuff to eat all the time, where like you're like this big time foodie, you need to constantly switch up your meal plan, you're not gonna make it because it's too many changes. It's very difficult to create a body transformation when you keep doing different things all the time, because you can't really accurately get grounded and figure out what's working and how effectively it actually is, because you keep changing it. And it's a lot of work. So when you keep making all these different changes, it requires you to make more decisions. And then the more decisions you have to make, it kind of shakes you. It's hard to be real disciplined. You got to keep doing different things. So it's good to have like 2 or 3 rotating options, right? As far as your meals are concerned, but more than that, it's too much, right? And it eats into your budget too, because the more options you have, especially if you're getting like whole foods and produce and things start expiring. Right? And you start really running into issues with that. You don't want things expiring and going bad in your fridge. You're wasting all kind of money. So if you've got like kale, arugula, watercress, spinach, romaine, you got all these different greens in your fridge. The more you have in your fridge, you can only eat but so many things at a time. So things just start going bad. You're wasting money. Oh, cucumbers. Cucumbers is a big thing for me too. I would put cucumbers in the salad. I would do diced cucumbers. So, another thing I want to say is the journey is like it's like getting comfortable in your seat. You ever like you sit down in a new chair, you gotta get comfortable in the chair, you gotta kind of wedge your butt cheeks in there, especially if the chair is kind of like maybe it's a little uneven. You gotta find your groove, how to comfortably sit in the chair. That's how the journey is. Right? If you just focus on the finish line the whole time, if you don't appreciate the scenic route, you're going to get burnt out real quick, because impatience will kill your gains. Impatience will kill your gains. This is one thing I see people do in the gym a lot too. When they're like you go through your workout and you feel like you can do more, so that you do more. You keep doing that in your workouts. You end up building up too much fatigue too quickly, and it makes the journey harder because you peak too early in the journey, and it's just too much fatigue too soon, and it ends up being a trauma. And then it hurts your sleep quality. And once you hurt your sleep quality, it gets real bad, because it becomes difficult to fall asleep. And then you either have a really difficult time waking up, or you wake up too early. Right? You go to bed too late, you wake up too early, and it destroys your days. As far as your training split goes, the more frequently you train, the less room for error there is. And if you train really intensely and you train really frequently, that makes the room for error that much more narrow. There's like no wiggle room to mess up. That's a big fatal mistake. You're just doing too much. So if you're one of these people where you gotta be, I want to go do all kind of Zumba and spin classes, and you want to do these long resistance workouts where you working out like 2-3 hours a day and all of this type of stuff, that's a lot, and it'll weigh you out. It'll wear you out big time. And what people do too, and women do this a lot, when you're trying to drop the body fat, you cut your food resources way too much, and you do way too much exercise because you're impatient. You're like, I want to lose the weight as quick as possible. And one thing that is very important to understand is the same things that build muscle also increase fat cells. That's the thing that gets tricky. And you can't you can shrink your fat cells, you can't get rid of them naturally. You can grow them and you can shrink them. Muscle mass, it's the same thing. You can't really get rid of your muscle mass cells. You can, but if you do, that's like atrophy. That's a massive problem. The only way to like completely lose muscle cells is just like you're like that's like sarcopenia. It's a bit different. That's not like a shrinking of the muscle fiber because you're not storing enough glycogen in the muscle. This is an entirely different thing. When people talk about muscle memory is because the muscle cells you built, they don't really go away. They just shrink, right? You may get some atrophy or whatever the case is. Atrophy maybe from an injury, because atrophy only really happens when you stop using the muscle. And the only way to really lose muscle is it's either you're overtraining or you're sedentary and not really training at all. That will atrophy muscle. But the quickest way to atrophy muscle typically is by not working out. Right? You're not working the muscle. That's when it atrophies. And then when you're older, it becomes a chronic thing called sarcopenia. And you lose like 1 or 2% of your lean mass like per year or something. Right? So you can slightly reduce your food intake, but you don't want to go crazy. And the reason why is because sure, you can drop your body fat, but you also decrease your actual muscle volume. And before I move on to that point, the muscle memory thing, basically, you're just reestablishing and regrowing and revitalizing the muscle cells and the neural pathways that you've already developed. You've already developed that infrastructure, so when you start using it again, it comes back online. That's what people call muscle memory. Right? You're kind of just reinflating a balloon you've already had, essentially. You're refilling a backpack you've already had. And muscle mass and fat mass are very interesting because they both operate as organs and they both operate as storage centers for, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, glucose, and that type of thing, right? Muscle mass stores carbon, right? Muscle mass also stores nitrogen. Fat cells don't really store nitrogen. You don't really store nitrogen, right? It has to be converted into carbon and then stored inside your fat cells that way. Just to get a little bit technical, your body primarily is made up of hydrogen, carbon, and nitrogen. Hydrogen, carbon, and nitrogen, right? So carbohydrates and fats are made up primarily of hydrogen and carbon, right? Protein is unique because it's hydrogen, carbon, and nitrogen. So basically, your body has a threshold for how much nitrogen it can use at a time. Nitrogen is like the simplest form of protein. Once your body has reached the amount of nitrogen saturation that it needs, whatever protein you consume after that, that nitrogen molecule breaks off and it gets flushed out of your body. Because you can't store it. You don't store it. It has to be used to create new cells and new proteins and things like that. Right? And then once you've capped out, you've fulfilled your body's needs, your body has to get rid of the rest. So it's not like glucose and lipids and things like that where your body can store that. It doesn't work like that. Your body stores the carbon elements of your food, not the nitrogen, really. So basically, you have a protein, the nitrogen element detaches, and that's where you get something like gluconeogenesis, where basically protein can be converted into glucose or fat. Too much protein intake can increase lipogenesis, which is the formation of new fat. Right? You can eat too much carbs. You can eat too much carbs. This is a lot harder to do. It depends on what your carbohydrate source is. But theoretically, you can consume too much carbohydrates or too many carbohydrates and get too much glucose. Now, the interesting thing about the glucose is the glucose goes and fills your muscle mass, your liver, and then your fat cells. Right? And then the rest sits in your bloodstream until it's eliminated from your body through your kidneys. Right? In the same way that nitrogen does, right? More or less. glucose can also be converted into lipids. That process takes a little bit of time, but it can, right? Depends on how long it's there. But the only way that process really happens is if you're insulin resistant. So if you're insulin resistant, then basically your blood sugar can be sustained at a higher level for a longer period of time, and your body can then store more of it as fat. So you have to optimize your kidney function to be able to release excess glucose, that's not needed, and be able to optimize your mitochondria in your cells to be able to more quickly synthesize glycogen, utilize that glycogen and convert it into ATP, and take up glucose out of your bloodstream and store it and pack it into your lean mass cells. All right. So basically you have your muscle cells and then you got your fat cells, and basically your muscle cells and your fat cells feed off the same things. Right? So the same foods that can build muscle can also build fat. And that includes carbs, fats, and protein. This is the interesting thing. So people will be like, well, I'm going to cut my carbs and I'm just going to have a diet mainly, just comprised of fat and protein. Doesn't really particularly matter because they still run into the same problem because the fats and protein can still build the fat cells and the muscle cells. In the same way carbohydrates and protein can build fat cells and muscle cells. Right? I'm trying to simplify the science of it as simply as possible, but that's very important too, even when we think about something like building muscle on a raw vegan diet. Like, oh, how does a person build muscle on a raw vegan diet? And it's like, well, there are no foods that do not come with nitrogen. There's no such thing as a proteinless food, right? So your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts and seeds, all of it contains protein. They all have that nitrogen component. So the interesting thing about as a fruitarian is your food volume is higher, so that your carbon intake is higher and your water intake is higher. So your lean mass, I think your lean mass is 16% carbon and 18% nitrogen. Right? This is the split. If we zoom out, basically, only 24% of your muscle mass is actually made up of protein, which that's not nitrogen in and of itself. It's combined with carbon, right? And then water is 76%. So it makes sense why it would be very easy to gain muscle mass on a fruitarian diet, because you have this abundance of energy, carbon, you have just enough amount of nitrogen to feed the muscle cells, and then you have the water to create the environment to optimize your metabolism and your hormonal balance. Right? And then the interesting thing too about a fruitarian diet is it's a stress management diet. So you flood your body with vitamin C, vitamin K, B vitamins, potassium, magnesium, right? All of these things, resveratrol, tannins, all different types of polyphenols, all of these things combined reduce muscle catabolism. So whatever muscle you train and stimulate, it recovers faster and it builds quicker. So there's less muscle damage and muscle breakdown. When you cut your carbs, now you get more muscle catabolism. You can actually lose more muscle mass as a result. So there's a counterbalance. So yeah, sure, if you have more protein in your diet, yeah, protein will build the muscle mass, but that's a counterbalance to the muscle, to the higher level of muscle damage and acid buildup inside your muscle as well as your connective tissues, etc. You get more inflammation, which can lead to more muscle loss. Right, so that's the science behind it. So both kinds of diets work just in different ways. All right. For me, what I've found is the best way to be able to build muscle consistently on a low protein diet is lower training volume. All right, lower training volume and higher intensity. So when it comes to building muscle, there's 3 aspects of training a muscle: metabolic stress, mechanical tension, and muscle damage. If you do more training volume and the intensity is fairly high, you get a lot of muscle damage. So the more training volume you do, the more muscle damage you get. So you're doing a lot of sets, you're getting a lot of muscle damage. You're just tearing up the muscle and your connective tissues. And with that, you're maximizing for muscle damage and metabolic stress. Those are the two key things that you're optimizing for with that kind of approach. And then mechanical tension. Right? It's not balanced. Now, if you reduce the training volume and you increase the intensity, you get more mechanical tension and metabolic stress, but not as much muscle damage. The muscle damage happens when you deplete the muscle glycogen, because the glycogen isn't there enough to be able to sustain the respiration process and the energy turnover, the energy cycle inside your muscle tissue. So the muscle itself, it just stops firing, and there's so much acid buildup. Like that burning sensation that you feel, the burning, that's acid. Right? So your muscles are shot at that point. They're not really firing. Right? So you're forced to stop and then take a few minutes to rest in order to be able to do another set. But you keep digging into that. You keep digging into those glycogen stores. You're just wearing down the muscle, so it makes recovery take longer. So if you're doing that and you're doing a lot of this training volume and you're training very frequently, you can end up losing more muscle than you build, or you're just zeroing out. You're at a net zero. So you're not gaining, you're not losing. Or maybe you're slightly gaining, but the reason why you're not gaining that much is because you did all this damage that you have to recover from. So you're barely recovering past baseline. If you reduce your training volume, you have less muscle breakdown. So you get metabolic stress and mechanical tension. So it's easier to recover. Right? So what this looks like, typically, like you're training like 2-3 times a week. 4 at the most. You do more than 5, you can run that for a couple weeks to maybe even 3 weeks. But after that, you start really feeling it. You start losing your motivation. You start wanting to skip training sessions. And if you start feeling like you want to start skipping training sessions, that's how you know recovery is coming to a grind. Right? Your body's running into recovery issues. You keep pushing past those recovery issues, it's just going to get worse down the line. It's very difficult to sustain that kind of effort like that. It wears you out. And that's the quickest way to destroy your hormonal balance and then get overuse injuries. Right? Tendinitis, tendinosis, impingements, all of this type of stuff. You could tear a bursa in your hip or your shoulder or whatever. It's just, it's not worth it. You need a long-term game. The last thing that I'll touch on, and I don't want to be here all night with y'all. I'm going to keep y'all up late. Because how I'm going to look keeping y'all up till 10 o'clock at night talking about all of this stuff. And then I'm going to be talking about getting to bed early. A hypocrite. And I haven't been good about getting to bed at a decent time. I have not been good about it at all. It's a crime. But in any case, muscle grows very slowly. Fat loss actually happens a lot quicker than muscle mass gain. We need some perspective about this. Did you know that there is a protein called myostatin? Myostatin regulates muscle growth. More myostatin leads to less muscle growth. Less myostatin leads to more muscle growth. Frequent training reduces myostatin. However, under recovery and increased stress leads to more myostatin, which inhibits muscle growth. This is the reason why the recovery thing is so important. Obesity leads to higher levels of myostatin. So when you're obese, it's harder to gain muscle mass because of the elevated myostatin. If you're really overweight and you want to build muscle, Your primary objective is consistent stress management. Do what you got to do to bring the stress down. For most people, unless you're a genetic freak, it's very difficult to be able to bring those myostatin levels down while not optimizing for stress management. So we have insulin resistance, diabetes, obesity, poor stress management, and electrolyte deficiencies and vitamin D deficiency, things like this, as well as aging leads to higher levels of myostatin. Now, as you get older, physiologically older, myostatin levels increase just as you're getting older by default. They just increase. There's things that you can do that kind of buffer that, and it slows down or even reverses the increase in myostatin. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because earlier I mentioned training outside. I would bring my training equipment outside and I would train out in the sun. This is why this is relevant. Vitamin D is one of the most effective things to bring down myostatin. So you're spending more time out in the sun. This is why I always stress getting outside, getting out in the sun and all of that. It's because it brings in those myostatin levels and makes it easier to build muscle. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin. It's more of a steroidal hormone. Right? Basically, it's gear. Steroids, right? So the sun is natural roids. I love that word, roids. Right? I remember when I was younger going into the gym, it was like there was roid this and roid that. Roid gains, roid rage, roid bumps, or roid acne. Right? Or like if you were getting jacked, you were gaining muscle real quick, you were getting roided out. Right? Or you saw somebody who's like unusually muscular, it's like he's roided up. Or you see like these jacked CrossFit Norwegian chicks with the thick neck. They got like an 8-pack abs and these huge blocky obliques with like huge quads and hamstrings and narrow butt cheeks and like big round shoulders and thick traps. They just be looking crazy. I'm like, yo, why you built like my dad? Why your head looks small compared to your neck, girl? What's going on? Damn. Talking about like I have 1 cow butt cheek and 2 gallons of milk a day with 32 ounces of cheese. I'm like, Jesus, man. I can smell it as you tell me the diet. Damn. You eat fruit? Yeah, I eat a kiwi a day. I'm like, man, Jesus. What's that gas look like? Damn. Sounds like gastritis. That sounds like gastrosis. Or it'd be a turtle shell on the abdomen. Let me stop though, because they hard work and they don't play. I'm not gonna be calling them. I don't mean in a disparaging way. This is very impressive, right? Because I mean, I've met some of these chicks like in person, and even I've met women who are in bodybuilding, and then you meet like these hardcore CrossFit chicks, and they got the shoulders and the neck and the traps with the wide blocky Ninja Turtle torso with the big legs. I mean, just big veiny forearms and whatnot with little hands. You got little hands and feet and everything big. You look crazy. A bunch of super soldiers. And like most of the chicks in bodybuilding don't look like that. Even like women in Olympic weightlifting don't look like that. That's like the CrossFit thing. I'm like, y'all got to stop throwing all kind of weight over y'all head because y'all getting yoked up big time. But much respect, big shout out to the Norwegian CrossFit chicks. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale, and jacked. Lord. They hips be the same circumference as mine. All right. But yeah, so vitamin D, right? Now for look, we're going to have to wait till like spring and summer to really be basking in the sun like that, but we can supplement with vitamin D. You can do like at least 5,000 IUs a day, but even like 10,000, you can mega dose it up. Or like you can double your dose on training days. 10,000 IUs a day on your training days. However, if you're going to mega dose it up with the vitamin D, you should pair it with magnesium, like a magnesium glycinate. Magnesium glycinate is magnesium chelated to glycine. Glycine is really good for stress management, stress reduction, improvement in sleep quality. It's protective of your liver, right? And it helps to prevent hepatic issues, fat accumulation in the liver, right? So good stuff, that magnesium glycinate. So you take vitamin D3 with that coconut yogurt bowl or the hemp flax cacao bowl, the smoothie bowl, with like the bananas and the flax seeds and the cinnamon and the cacao or the chia seeds or hemp seeds and all that, right? Make a nice smoothie bowl. Or coconut, blueberry, strawberry, kiwi bowl. Or like a acai bowl, right? Whatever you want to do. And have the vitamin D with that. Glutamine. Glutamine is also good for muscle recovery as well. Liver protection and the maintenance of your digestive tract as well. So glutamine is good if you want to create that body transformation. So you make that smoothie bowl. You can add pea protein isolate to the smoothie bowl with the glutamine in there. You take your vitamin D3. That could be a real game changer. Okay. Creatine. That's the second one I want to touch on. Creatine reduces myostatin. Creatine is actually especially very beneficial for older people. So once you get like over the age of like 60, you start getting into your 60s, 70s, 80s, yeah, 90s, that creatine is very beneficial for helping you to stave off that sarcopenia. You maintain more of your skeletal muscle tissue. And it also helps to prevent type 3 diabetes, which is diabetes of the brain. Right? We don't want a diabetic brain. We don't want that. That brain fog is a beast. You know? You get anxiety when people start asking you to do math. What is 9 plus 9 times 9? I don't know. Spell your name. I don't know. Stop. So you know too, when your brain is doing real well, when you're insulin sensitive, your speech patterns change. When it's a rough day and you're kind of insulin resistant in the brain, you're slogging, it shows up in your speech patterns. Y'all see it in me. If y'all been listening to me long enough, you know when I'm having an off day. Because I'll come on here. I'll talk a little slower. And I'll use filler words more than usual. Those filler words are a tell. I may say right too much. Right? I say right after like every sentence. But oh, he's struggling. Them uhs. That's your brain doing reps, just getting toasted. That brain be cooked. Yo, some of y'all, a lot of y'all in the audience, y'all gonna be old enough to know. Remember like AOL, remember dial-up internet? That horrible ass sound when you sign on. You gotta wait for the dial-up to connect. It make that terrible sound. All these robotic sounds. Y'all remember that? That's what your brain does. It shows up in your speech pattern. You get a spinning wheel over your head, that buffering wheel. Yeah, I have it too. I still sometimes look, every day ain't perfect for me either. I need to tighten up. I need to get my dedication game up. I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it too much when I'm doing, because I talk about it and I jinx myself. So y'all just gonna have to see it. But we all got to tighten up. Right? We're all in it together. We nobody's perfect. Well, some people are perfect, but I ain't one of them. Let's touch base. Who's in the Discord right now? Sound off. Who's in the Discord? Miss D done logged off. She done went to sleep. You still in here, Miss D? For those of you who are tribe members, you can jump into the voice chat.
I'm here.
The line's open. My man John, what's going on, brother?
Oh man, another day, man, another day.
Here we go. Another day to absolutely crush it. Yes, sir.
For sure, for sure.
All right, let me copy this link. Did I already do this? Hold on a second. I just want to make sure. Because I said it's call in. We got to call in. So I just want to make sure I got the right link here. All right. Now I'm put this link in the chat. Call in. All right, so I put the link in the chat. So y'all can hit that link and jump in. And let me bring that. I gotta maneuver some things over here in the OBS. Hold on. Let me move it down one more space. How many times I gotta move this down? Let's see, one more. And then if y'all having issues jumping into the... Here we go. All right, so yeah, basically that's the link to jump in. And then also, for anybody who wants to jump in on StreamYard, we'll copy that. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, so I'm gonna just leave it as is. So yeah, definitely hit that link that I posted in the chat. But that's everything that I wanted to touch for tonight. Ooh, whoa. All right. And then if y'all having any issues jumping in on the chat, let me know. Who's still in here? Agnes, you still in here? We got Carol in here. What's going on, Carol? You said you desire too much carbs? We got Carol in here. What's going on, Carol? Oh, hey. Too much carbs? You got to turn your volume off. Oh, hey. And you in the voice chat, because I can hear you have the stream on, so I can hear you playing it through your speaker. So you have to turn your You have to mute your
Oh,
end.
hey. And you in the voice chat, but I can hear you have to stream one, so I can hear you playing it through the speakers. So you have to turn your.
Dough chick.
Go check.
I hear myself being played back to me on her end.
I don't know how to do it.
There we go. Okay, I think you did it. All right, what's
Yeah.
going on? How you doing?
I don't know how to do it.
Oh, you sound a little low. You sound a little muffled. All right. Let's see if I
Can
can
you
hear
hear me,
you
Rin?
now. Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you loud and clear.
Because I don't, you know,
Right. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, I think
think
you
I'm delayed.
Yeah, I think you speech jamming yourself because you're in the YouTube and in the Discord. So that's probably why you speech jamming yourself.
Because you're in the YouTube and in the Discord.
Oh, so hold on.
I should get speech jammed. So you would have to mute the YouTube chat so that you're not getting speech jammed.
Okay, what about now?
Now you're good. All right.
But
So
I'm
what's
still
going on? How
delayed,
you
I
doing?
think.
Oh, you're still delayed? Oh, probably because you're listening to me through YouTube instead of through the Discord.
Oh, you're still delayed? Oh, probably because you're
Oh, you said you hit the link and nothing showed up?
No, I closed the YouTube out, I think.
Oh no, I was talking to John Green. I just saw the message that he sent me. Maybe I set it up wrong. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do it. Matter of fact, too, because some of y'all in the tribe, I'll have to test some things out behind the scenes with y'all to make sure I get it right.
I think it's,
But yeah, John Green, you should be able to talk in the Discord chat too if the link isn't working.
like, I can barely hear.
Yeah, John Green, you should talk in the Discord.
You said you can barely hear me on Discord?
Discord?
Yeah. And it's super delayed.
It's super delayed on Discord. That's interesting. It should be in real time on Discord.
And it's super delayed.
Because it sounds too. Because the thing is, it sounds like you're listening to the stream on
So,
your end. That's why.
so I have, oh, maybe because, okay, hold on. I think I know what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Hold on. I think I know it. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, now I can barely hear you, but so this is what happened. I'm like doing the most. So I have you like on I was on YouTube on my phone, and like I had YouTube on my TV because like I wanted to see it like big. So I ended it on my phone, but it was still on my TV. So I guess it still showed that I was logged in. So that's why I was like a delayed in my.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was delayed on because I could hear like you were ahead of me on my on the YouTube than on the Discord. But I think we're in sync now, right?
Yeah, we're in sync now. Yeah, you in real time now.
I just can't hear you though. I don't know why I can't because my volume is already all the way up, but I can't.
Oh, hold on.
I can
Say,
like barely hear you
yes,
on the Discord.
yes, Anishka White. Yeah, the Discord is available to all tribe members. So yeah, if you join the tribe, yeah, you get access to the Discord.
You got to be
Oh,
gang to get it.
yeah, that's right. You got to get in. You got to join the tribe. Yeah. Oh, John, you want to show me your fruit tree orchid? Yeah, you. Matter of fact, I think because I had to join the video stream thing. So try that link now and see if it works. Because I'm kind of curious. Because now I
And
think I
I
had to
didn't
be
join
in
from
it
the
with
link.
you.
I just joined from. I just went to the.
Yeah, either or, it's fine. Oh
Oh,
wait, I heard it.
now I can hear you. I can hear you now. Okay.
What did you do? What did you do in order to fix the issue?
I put my earbuds in because I couldn't hear you from my phone. Just from the speaker on my phone was low, but once I put my earbuds in, now I can hear you loud and clear. Hey.
There we go. Okay. There you go. See, I'm kind of curious, John Green, if you can hit that link.
I tried hitting the link and it just it's almost like I was just sitting in the waiting room.
Oh, that's why. I think because I had to join and start it. I think that's why. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's all good. Yeah, I mean, you got access to the Discord. But yeah, if you turn on your camera, I can see what you want to show me.
Yeah, I'm so retarded. I didn't even realize Discord had a camera.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah, we got it. It's
listen.
full featured.
I'm glad we're I'm glad we're in here kind of retarded together.
Yeah, I want.
Hey, look, we're high functioning. All right.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. High
Yeah,
Look at that.
functioning.
we're high functioning.
Oh wow, what kind of tree is that? What kind of plant is that?
That's that's a tangerine tree right there. That's my okra plants. That's a grapefruit right there. I got to put
Oh,
down
you ain't
grass so y'all don't
playing.
talk about me, but I'm growing. I'm growing ginger and turmeric there.
I gotta
That's
hold
my
on. Now I
key
gotta see if I can
lime.
share
I
this
mean,
on my
Dang, I
screen.
need to get my life together. I ain't planting nothing.
look, look, there goes
But
some purple mustards. I got some dandelions, some basil going over there. And then I got a navel orange. I know, Renson, you say you hate peeling navel oranges.
Yeah,
I got some more greens.
look at
Oh
that. Matter
man,
of fact,
just
can y'all
ignoring
see on the Discord? I mean on the YouTube stream. I'm kind of curious if y'all can see on the YouTube stream what that looks like. Yeah, y'all can see it. Hold on. Uh-oh.
Then I got
What
some mint. I got 3 different types of mint. That's chocolate mint right there. I got some
chocolate
nettles that I'm
mint.
trying to. Yeah, I got nettles I'm trying to do. Then here's another grapefruit tree. There's my I'm starting to grow a dragon fruit here. That's some more mint. That's a spearmint. And then here's a grape. I mean a grapevine right now.
Yo, what time is it over
I'm
there by
getting it going.
you?
It's 7:30 at night.
Yo, how you got
John,
all
where are
this
you?
daylight?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, I'm in
You
Houston.
got a lot
Yeah,
of
it's daylight
daylight.
here. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you see. Can you see the
That's,
light through my window, Remsen? It's still
Uh-huh.
daylight. Yeah, we're
Look
in
at
the same
that.
place. We both are in Houston.
oh,
There you
okay, okay.
go.
Yeah, I'm in League City. There goes
Oh,
some
okay,
3 different dragon fruits I'm growing, and then this a passion fruit over here. And then this is my burdock root I got in this thing. I got 2 different burdock roots. I'm still trying to clean everything up. But yeah.
Look at that.
that's
All
a,
right.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
man. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. I got to get some more grass down here to get it more pretty and clean things up, buddy. I've been planting and getting ready. This is just a small amount. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to get some apple
That's a
trees,
small
pear
amount.
trees, and everything. Yeah, from
See,
what I
that's how you do
mentally
it.
want to do.
That's beautiful. Look at that. Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
If you
man.
get some
Hey, man,
land,
fruit costs
grow
so
stuff
much,
on
man.
it. Yeah.
Man, fruit costs so much, man. And you got to find a different way. So I said, "Forget it, man, let me just start dropping trees, and I actually get fruit off of each and every one of each one of them are blooming. They already have like little bitty fruits on them, so they all producing.
But how long ago did you plant them?
Just last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just last year. But I pulled up a lot of the grass because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I put them in these little metal things so they can just kind of like look a little bit better. So now I'm just trying to get my grass back. I think I'm gonna just do a plum tree, a pear tree, an apple tree. Oh, and I got an avocado coming too. I'm gonna do
Well, you know,
avocado
as
one.
the
So
trees
hopefully
get bigger,
that kind
it,
of,
as the trees get bigger, you're gonna have to increase the pot size.
oh, that's actually in the ground. That's just covering it.
Oh, okay,
They all
gotcha.
planted in the ground. But I'm gonna cut them down. I'm only gonna let them get like 8 feet high, and then that's it. I'll just keep trimming them. I'm not gonna let them get like super tall because then I won't be able to harvest it like I want to. It'll be too much work.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, gotcha. I gotcha. Because let me tell you something.
Yeah,
I get some land, man. I might have a rainforest in the yard.
man. Listen, and that's just one section of my backyard. I still got a whole nother section on the other side that I'm not doing nothing with. That I'm
Yeah.
already mapping out. Until the family
And
start complaining, man, I'm gonna keep buying.
it sound like I need to come to John's instead of to HEB.
Hmm.
Hey, that's the plan. Shoot, you been an HEB lady, man. A bag of grapes is $8. I couldn't, man.
Our fruit is still
HEB is
cheaper
too much.
than Remsen's. Remsen's fruit in Ohio is an arm and a leg. Ours is just an arm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, y'all got some good prices
Yeah,
out there. So I'm
yeah.
officially jealous. Nah.
Man, look.
Well, yeah,
Hopefully this
big shout
time
out to you.
next year,
That's what's
man,
up.
I can show it. Yeah.
Uh huh. All right, fair enough. Well, look, y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all too late tonight. I'll be back on. I want to shoot for being back on Thursday. So as far as the schedule is right now, this week I'm doing Thursday and Saturday. All right.
Thursday,
Yeah,
same time at 7 p.m.
It's Thursday 7 p.m. and then Saturday 3
Okay.
p.m. Eastern. All
Okay.
right. So I'll send the email invites out to let y'all know, and so we're gonna be doing that. So
I
yeah,
gotta hit
appreciate
you up
everybody.
about these hot flashes,
Oh,
night
we're gonna talk
sweats.
about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely gotta talk about it because it's insane.
But before we get into it, YouTube, I gotta sign out. I bid y'all adieu, farewell, or till next time. Have a good night. And I'll talk to y'all soon.